Hello and welcome to this podcast. My name is Emma and this is episode number 9, I want to say. I'm not sure. I think it is. And this is a podcast where I talk about my knitting projects. Today I have a lot of things to show you. I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to show you today because I have a limited time, and I did knit quite a bit since the last time I filmed an episode, and because in between I filmed some Vlogmas videos, and I thought that I would have time to film a regular podcast episode, but it turned out that Vlogmas took a lot of time to film and to edit. And I think especially to edit. And so I didn't have time to record any podcast during Vlogmas. And so yeah, I do have a lot of things to show you today. I hope that you are good, that you had lovely holidays, and that the new year is starting well for you, and that you have lots of nice plans to knit or crochet or embroider or sewing or anything that you like. I did take some notes for this episode so I don't forget anything. But yeah, I'm gonna jump straight into the finished objects, and the first one that I have is, oh no, I wanted to say, it's already a bit chaotic, but because I have too many things that I want to show you, and I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to. So I wanted to show you some sewing too today, and some embroidery, and a few acquisitions, but I think that I'm not gonna have time to show you everything today. So I think that I'm going to leave the embroidery part and the acquisitions for the next episode. So it's not such a long one today, and yeah, so maybe I'll break it into 2 parts. I'll see. But the first finished object that I have is this jumper. So I've showed it to you last time, and I can't really remember how much I had knitted on it, but I finished it since then, and I've been wearing it like really a lot. And I absolutely love it. It's so nice to wear it. It's so warm. So here it is. I'm gonna try to show you a little bit closer. Sorry, I have the cable from the mic, but yeah. So this is a pattern that I wrote because I wanted something quite specific, and it turned out exactly as I imagined it. So basically, this is a top-down sweater. What is it? I did make a slope for the shoulders. I made the sleeves, those are kind of satin sleeves, because I wanted the jumper to be a bit oversized, but I didn't want the sleeves to be too oversized. Not the sleeves in themselves, but more like the shoulder line. I wanted it to be almost on my shoulder. It's a bit larger than satin sleeves, because I did want to have this kind of oversized look, but I don't like the way drop shoulders like kind of sit on the arm. So I did some increases on the underarm to have some kind of satin sleeves look, and I think it turned out like really like how I imagined it. It's not too deep, so I can put some a coat on top of it, but it's still really comfy. The cables are the same on the front and on the back, and I did put some cables on the on the sleeves too, and it's mass stitch on the whole, like on the rest of the jumper. I think that's it. I did a double folded collar, and I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I did do sleeve caps too, so it sits more nicely on the shoulder, and I do have room for my arms to move. And I think that's all the design elements that I put into this jumper, and I love it. I really, really love it. And about the yarn that I used, I did take the cones. I don't have them with me, but they're upstairs, and I don't want to go all the way up to get them. But I used wool in it, 4-ply, British wool. What's the way? I have another cone here. It's the British wool cone, and from Wool in It. And it's a fingering weight yarn, so I used it double, and I added a strand of alpaca, 100% alpaca from Drops. And the color is something nap, but it's not the cream nap, it's the Skidoo nap brown for the Wool in It yarn, and for the alpaca from Drops, it's a cream color. I can't remember the number of the color, but it's a plain cream color. So I used those 3 strands held together to knit the jumper. And and also I did knit my sleeves a little bit longer than what I usually do. I hate when my sleeves are too long, and I knit them a bit longer, so when I have my arm like this, it sits well on the wrist, but I do have, like, it covers my whole wrist, which is really nice for a big woolly jumper that's really warm. And yeah, I think that's it for this jumper. And my partner asked me to have exactly the same. I asked him if he wanted me to find another yarn, and he said, no, I want the same yarn. So I was like, okay. So I ordered 2 more cones of the Wool in It yarn, and I was like, okay, can I find another cream color yarn, because it's 100% alpaca, so maybe I can use one that is not so heavy, and maybe another yarn than from Drops. And he was like, no, I want exactly the same. I don't want anything to change. And I think, like, every time he holds it, he's like, oh, it's so heavy, it seems so nice. And I think he really likes the fact that it's a bit heavy and not so light. So I think I'm gonna have to use alpaca for his jumper too. And one of you commented, I think it was in my last podcast, that I could use Wool in It merino wool, that it would be a bit lighter. And I thought that it was such a nice idea, and especially since they have a cream color, and I don't think the merino yarn is called Skidoo nap brown, but it seems to be exactly the same color as this one. So I thought it could be really nice, but I think my partner doesn't want this one. It could be really soft too, because it's merino wool with the sheep wool from the 4-ply British wool, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to see what he wants. I do have the Wool in It cones, and I'll see if I take the merino one or the alpaca. And I think that it is it for this jumper. I feel like I'm talking really fast, so I have to calm down a little bit. because I'm a little bit excited, and since I have so many things that I want to show you, I'm like rushing a bit, but yeah. So the second finished object that I have is this one. I don't think you can see everything. Oh yeah, you can see everything on the camera. So this is the Scama pullover, and I forgot the designer's name. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna have a look. I'll write it down below or on the screen. I did take some notes to prepare it just so I don't forget any project, but I didn't write any of the names of the pattern or the designers that I used. I'm sorry. But this one I knitted throughout the month of, like I started at the end of November, I think, and finished it on in December, like this. And I love it. I didn't even take the yarn with me. I still have a skein, so I could have shown it to you. I'm not really prepared. But yeah, anyway, so this is a slipover that is knitted bottom up. So we start with the back with some ribbing, half twisted rib, and then we cast on the front half twisted rib too. That is a bit shorter. I think you can see it here. The front is a bit shorter than the back, and then we join in the round. We knit until the armholes, and then separate for the back and the front, and knit them separately. And yeah, and so I did just one modification, but as you can see here on the side, we continue with twisted rib on both sides and then around the arms, and I really liked this this design element. I knit the recommended length in total, but I modified the length of the armholes that were supposed to be bigger, but I thought it was big enough for me. I can still wear like button-up shirts underneath it, and it's perfect, and that's what I wanted. So with bigger sleeves, and so I just knitted a bit longer until I separated for the armholes, and then knit a bit less long, like a shorter back and front. And I used a yarn, that's the yarn from Maison Septembre. She's a yarn dyer. She botanically dyes her yarns, and but this one is undyed, and I think this one is called Native. It's French wool, 100% wool, and 100% sheep wool, non-superwash. And is it this yarn that is, I think this one is French wool. I'm not sure anymore. I'll put the link down below. And I really like the drape that it has when I wear it, and it was a lot stiffer when I was knitting it, and it bloomed quite a lot when I washed it. I washed it a first time. I knew it because the swatch that I did, it really changed after blocking. So I knew it would change when blocking this this garment, and I really saw it because I blocked it a first time, and I think I didn't put enough water in it, and so because I put it in a bowl and it wasn't soaking enough, and so it was still a little bit stiff. And when I blocked it a second time in a lot more water, it became like this really nice fabric. So yeah, and since I finished it, I think I'm wearing it like almost daily. I really discovered slipovers, and it's so nice because it enables me to layer different pieces, and so I can be warm enough, and if I'm just a little bit cold, I can put another layer on, and it's so much easier. And I don't know, I feel like it keeps me so warm, but without being like too, how do I say that? With sleeves, sometimes it's a bit too much, and I feel like I have too many things on me. And with this, I feel like I'm so free of my movements, and it's so nice to wear. So I absolutely love it. And after that, I really want to, now I really want to knit more vests. And so that's gonna be in my next projects. But yeah, I really discovered wearing slipovers, and I absolutely love it. So I do want to have more in my wardrobe, and I do want one with a v-neck, cardigan vest. I don't know if we can call it like this, but that can be opened and closed. So yeah, and I think that this is it for this one. Also about the pattern, I think it's really it's an easy pattern. I think it's a really beginner friendly pattern, and it's a good way to start making garments, especially without the sleeves. So yeah, I really recommend both the pattern and the yarn. The third project that I want to show you, it's a sewing project, and I showed it to you last time, and I can't remember exactly what where I stopped with this dress, but it's the Danny dress from Teamwork magazine. It's really dark, so I don't know how much you can see. It's a dark blue corduroy, so yeah. It takes all the dust, and it's really hard to see on camera, so not the best. But I did talk a lot about it in my last episode, so I'm not gonna talk too much about it. But as I said, it turned out a little bit too big for me. I sewed the smallest size, and it was a little bit too big for me. I'm gonna try to insert a B-roll of me wearing it, so you can see a bit better. But I do love it. I think it's really nice. So yeah. And I don't really know when else to talk about this one. I'm just gonna try to insert a video of me wearing it, so you'll have a better idea of how it fits and how it looks like. But I just wanted to show it to you once I finished it. And it's really comfortable to wear. Okay, so the next finished object that I have is a pair of socks that I already started the last time I filmed a podcast, so you've already seen at least the beginning of the first one. But I finished the pair. I have a bit of the yarn, so this is the yarn that I used. It's the Mondim yarn. Here, I'm just gonna go and get the whole ball. So, this is the yarn. It's the Mondim from Retrosaria Pomar, and it's the colorway 400. It looks like this, and then once we knit it, it's like this. I think I've already talked about it in my last episode, but I did put all the information in my Ravelry page, in the project page, of how many rounds I did of the white on top, then of the ribbing, of the sock, and everything. I put every information that I have in my project page on Ravelry, but I think I did like 3 rounds of the white, then 1 plain round of the new color, of the main color, and then half twisted rib for, I think in total that was 15 rounds. Then I did 3x1 rib on the leg. Then I did a heel flap and gusset for the heel with the contrasting color, and then some decreases, continued the 3x1 rib on top of the foot and stockinette stitch at the bottom of the foot on the sole, and then did the toes with the contrasting color again. For the first sock, the thing that I did was that I started the decreases directly when I started with the white color, but it was too small. I have a tendency, I think, to knit my socks a tiny bit too small, because I'm always a bit scared that it's gonna be too big, and so that it's gonna be a bit floppy at the end and it's not gonna be comfortable in the shoes, because I do wear my knitted socks every day in my shoes, so, and at home and everything, but especially in my shoes, it can be a bit annoying if it's too big. So yeah, I have to look into that and try to knit my socks a little bit longer, and yeah. So yeah, it was a bit too short, so what I did that on the second one I knit 3 rounds of stockinette stitch with the white color, and then started the decreases. It's a rounded toe, so you can see it here. So I do less decreases on the first rows, and I do more and more towards the end of the toes. And so I undid the first one and I redid it with the 3 rows that I added in stockinette stitch. It's still a little bit too small, but I think it's gonna be okay. I've already worn them quite a bit, and they're really nice to wear. And it's the first time that I'm knitting socks with non-superwash, nylon-free yarn. And I have to say, no, it's not the first time. It's not the first time, it's the second time. But I'm gonna talk about that. But I did realize wearing them that they were a lot nicer to wear, because I don't sweat in them. Like I can't, like for example in my superwash with nylon sock yarns, when I wear my socks in my shoes, when I get a little bit too warm, it starts to be a bit uncomfortable, whereas with those ones it's not uncomfortable. I'm not too warm, that my feet are not too warm, not like they're neither cold or too warm. So I like it a lot better with non-superwash yarn. I don't know if it's the fact that there's no nylon in it, or that it's superwash, or both. I don't know, but it's a lot better for me. So that's something to keep in mind too. And I like it a lot better because it doesn't have any superwash treatment, so it's better for the environment. I'm wearing like fully woolly socks, so yeah, I like this better. So I'm gonna try more of non-superwash yarn and nylon-free yarn in the future for socks. But yeah, I realized that I already did knit socks in with so I'm not sure, either it was 100% alpaca, but I think it was a blend of alpaca and wool, maybe 40% alpaca and 60% wool, and I knit some socks with that, and oh my god, they're so soft. But they're also like quite warm. I think the alpaca adds a bit of warmth in on the socks, but they're so nice to wear. They're softer than those ones, but I don't really mind that it's a bit less soft. It's not itchy at all. It's just a bit drier. Like the feel is a bit drier, but yeah, and I do wear them a lot, those alpaca socks. So yeah, that's something to look into in the future, and yeah. And also, I do have like a wool that I want to try. I have it in my stash, and it's a blend of wool and linen to add strength instead of nylon. So I think that could be a great thing to try. And the next thing that I want to try with socks is maybe add a strand of silk mohair to add some strength, but staying natural fibers. And so after that, because my partner wants everything that I knit at the moment also for him, he asked me to have exactly the same socks. And again, when I asked him, do you want me to modify them a bit? He was like, no, I want exactly the same. I think it's cute. So I did the same for him, except that I knit the cuff a little bit longer. I knit the leg a little bit longer because everything is bigger with his feet. And so I stopped because I knit it with, I didn't say that, but I knit mine with 56 stitches, which is what I usually knit my socks. It's the size that I use for my socks. And for him, the few pairs that I made him, I've made them with 60 stitches because he likes his socks to be like to have a snug fit. So he likes to have like tighter socks. So I did that, knit all the way to the middle of the foot, and it was too small. So I had to restart it, and because he couldn't pass his heel. What couldn't pass? It was too small, and I can't remember if it was this part. It's quite stretchy. I'm using the old Norwegian cast on to start the sock, so it's quite stretchy. But my partner couldn't pass his heel. Where was it? Oh no! It wasn't that. It was he couldn't pass. He could pass his foot all the way, and he did have it in place, so it was okay. Everything was stretchy enough so his foot could fit in the sock, but it was a little bit too tight around the instep, I think it's called. I'm not sure. The part where I'm going to show you on my sock, but this part here was a little bit too small. Yes, it was a little bit too small. So what I did first was that I only undid the foot and I started again. Yes, okay, I remember now. Sorry, it's been a little while. So I was thinking about what I did, but since it was this part that was a little tight, I thought, well, the only thing that I have to do is to add a bit of length to the heel part, to this part here, when I go back and forth. So if it's going to be longer, this part here is going to be bigger because I'm going to have more stitches around before I start doing the decreases. So it should be okay. So that's what I did. I think I added six rows, so 3 back and forth, and I thought it could add enough length, and so enough, it could be deep enough, but it wasn't. It was still a bit too tight. So what I did is that I frogged the whole sock and started again with 64 stitches. Went all the way down, started again, started just a few decreases of the foot, made him try again, so I wouldn't go all the way to the middle of the foot, and it was still too small with 64 stitches. And I don't understand because, well, his other socks are made with 60 stitches, so why this one doesn't fit him? Also, I think that what I changed is that I used to knit my socks with 2.5mm needles, which was a bit too big. I'm quite a loose knitter, so I usually have to go down a few needle sizes, and I started knitting my socks with 1.5mm needles, and maybe that's what changed. And maybe that's why I could knit socks for him with 60 stitches, and now that it's too small. And he's a size 42, European size, and I don't know, every time that I see people knitting socks, and I'm like, oh, I knit socks for him with 60 stitches, which is less than what people usually do for men's size, for example. So I was always wondering if he had like thin feet. That could be possible. I don't really know. I know that I have large feet for my feet size, but for him, I didn't know. And I think that's just that I was a loose knitter, and so knitting socks with 2.5mm needles, it was a bit loose, and so maybe 68 stitches could be a bit better. So either I go up to 1.75 or 2mm needles for him and stay with 64 stitches, or I stay with the same needle size and go with 68 stitches. I don't know. What would you recommend? I think I may have to measure my gauge to see how tight it is, and yeah, and maybe it's a little bit tighter too because I used 3x1 rib because I wanted it to be a bit stretchy, but I think it tightens it a little bit too, I think. So yeah, I put it aside for a bit of time because I couldn't be bothered to start it a third time. I mean, this is long to knit. It's longer than mine, but yeah. But also, one good thing about it is that I'm gonna be able to weigh the white yarn that I have, so I know how much I'm using for the white yarn. I know that I had 62 grams left of the the main color, and I want to weigh them because a few years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I knit my partner a sweater, and I still have 50 grams left. It was a sock yarn, and I did, maybe I'll insert a photo. I say maybe because maybe I will forget, and maybe I won't find a photo when I edit. I don't know, but anyway, there was some Latvian braids on the chest, 3, and so I had a contrasting color, so the yarn is brown and the contrasting color was like kind of white cream with bits of brown and blue speckles. And so I thought that since he really liked this, I could since he really liked the contrasting color for the heel and the toes, I could knit him a pair of socks with his sweater yarn, doing the Latvian braids on the leg with the contrasting color. And since I'm doing that, I wanted to know how much yarn I need to make the heel and the toes. I think without the pop of color on the top, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna weigh everything so I know how much I need of the contrasting color, and also how much I need of the main color so I know how big I can make the leg. So that's the plan, and I'm quite excited about that because I think it can be really cute to have a jumper with matching socks with the same yarn and the same Latvian braids. So yeah. So that's a plan in the future, not a near future, I think, but in the next month. I'll see when I have time to do that. But I do need to weigh the yarn to know how much I need. Also, while I'm on socks, I do have plans to knit a pair of socks for a friend, because I already knit a pair of socks for another friend, and this one she told me that I don't know how she told me that, but in a way it meant that she would be happy if I knit her some socks. So I have this plan, and I think it's the perfect timing because she's pregnant. She's going to be on maternity leave like around mid-March, and her birthday is at the end of February. So I thought it would be a great present for her birthday before being on maternity leave, to have like these comfy socks to wear during winter when she's on maternity leave. And I know her shoe size, so she's wearing a 40.5 European size. I think that's an 8.5 US size, I think. And now I'm really thinking, okay, if I wanted to fit her, how many stitches should I cast on? So I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna knit her some socks with 2mm needles, so it's not too small, not too tight. I was thinking that maybe I could knit what was I thinking? Oh yeah, in ribbing, so it's a bit more forgiving if it's not exactly the right size. It can stretch a little bit, but it can shrink a little bit too if it was too large. But if any of you is wearing that size of shoes, how many stitches do you use to make your socks? Because I wanted to fit her, and I want to finish them and make it as a surprise. I don't want her to try them on before I gift her the socks. So I want to be able to finish them and that they fit her. And yeah, so If any of you is wearing that like a 40.5 or 8.5 shoe size, how many stitches do you use for your socks? That would really help me get the right size. Yeah, and I think that's it for the sock board. I feel like I talked a lot about socks today. But it's the right season too. I mean, middle of winter, we want to be warm and to have our feet warm too. So yeah. So that was it for the socks, for the finished objects, and now I have a few works in progress that I want to show you. I'm just gonna have a look at my notes to see if I didn't forget anything. No, I think that's it. So let's see what I have for my works in progress. I'm gonna take the I can take this one because you've already seen it, so I can show it to you. So here it is. So this is the sumac pullover from Orlan Sush that I'm knitting with a yarn that I bought a long time ago, a few years ago. It's a rustic yarn that this lady was hand spinning from sheeps from the island, the Ouessant Island, and which is a really tiny island in France. And so yeah, I had 600 grams of this wool. It was like creamy white wool. I started the jumper with this wool, and then I realized that I didn't really like the color that it made, and so I dyed it. So this is the color. And if you watched the last episode, or a few episodes ago, I think I showed it twice, but it was way too big the first time I knit it, so I had to undo it and re-knit it, and now it's quite a good size. I think I didn't knit the color the last time that I showed it to you, so it's a double folded color. I think it's only a knit color. Yeah, we knit it, then we knit in stockinette stitch, then we knit a purl row, continue knitting in stockinette stitch, and then sew it at the base of the neckline. And now I have to, so I did that, I stopped the body, did the color to see how well it sits on my body, and now I have to continue the body for still a bit of time. It's still not long enough, and then do the sleeves, and that's it. And I only have this left of the yarn that I dyed, and then I think I have another skein, and that's it. So I think I'm gonna run out of yarn before I finish it. I still have some yarn. I think I still have 2 or 3 skeins of yarn undyed. And of course, at the time when I dyed it, I was like, oh, I will remember. I think it's like a basic percentage of dye. I dyed it with I can't remember. I lost the word in my head, but I'm gonna write it. And so, yeah, I did weight. I weighed the dye, the quantity of wool that I put in it. I think it was 5% of dye. I can't remember. Something like that. So I'm quite sure that I'm not going to be able to have exactly the same color for a few reasons. That's botanically dyed, and that's the temperature won't be the same, the pH of the water won't be the same. The yarn itself, everything will be a bit different. So I don't think I'm going to have the same color. So I don't know what to do, because either I'm dyeing a whole skein or I dye 2 more skeins, so I'm sure that I have enough yarn. But I don't want to dye too many, because if I have more, maybe I could dye in some other color. So I'm not sure what to do with that. I'm not sure how much because then I could be able to alternate skeins, so it doesn't really show the difference of the color. I'll see. So this jumper is a bit waiting for me to decide on what to do with the dyeing process. But I continued, and I did quite a bit on it since the last time, and yeah, I really like the way it turns out, and I can't wait to wear it because it seems so comfortable. It's quite lightweight for such a big garment, especially compared to this jumper. So yeah, that's it for this one, but I wanted to show you a bit how much I've done on it since last time. If I continue for the next work in progress on the project that you've already seen, so there's the Billy's tea that I haven't touched since last time that I showed you, so I'm not going to show it to you. But there's another one that I made quite a lot of progress on, and it's the petit by Florence Miller that I'm knitting with the pure silk from Knitting for Olive, and I can't remember the colorway. Cardamom is the colorway, I think, but I'm gonna write all the details. And also I keep track of everything that I do in my Ravelry project pages. So if you want to have any information, you should be able to find it on my Ravelry page, and I do put the links down below. So yeah, I like to remember what I did on my projects, so I do put a lot of information on Ravelry. And here it is. It was all bunched up in a bag, but yeah. So it's a top-down construction, and she calls it a half for the construction. I think it's like kind of like there's a saddle shoulder construction here, and then she continues with raglan sleeves. So I think she says that the designer says that it's a mix of the two. And so last time that I showed it to you, I haven't done I didn't separate the sleeves, and I didn't do the color, so that's what I did since then. And the modification that I made was that I didn't want a ribbing collar, so a ribbed collar, so I did a, what did I do? Did I do a, no, I think, yeah, I did a, I think it's called a sewed collar. Exactly the same as the sumac pullover. I did a I picked the stitches, then did some stockinette stitch, then did a purl row, continued the stockinette stitch, and then sewed here. And yeah, and I don't know, it's poking out a little bit here around the, like just around here. So I hope it's gonna block out. I'm not sure. I don't know if you can see, it's here. So I'm a bit worried about that. I'm not sure why it made that. But other than that, it's a great pattern, and yeah, I'm just continuing on the body, and I think I'm gonna, oops, I lost some stitches. It's okay. I think I'm gonna finish this ball of yarn, and once I'm done with it, this is the second ball of yarn. So once I'm done with it, I'm gonna do the sleeves. Those are short sleeves, and I'm gonna finish the sleeves and then knit on the body, because I don't want it to be too cropped. But since I only have 3 balls of this yarn, yeah, I wanted to finish the sleeves first before finishing the body. So that's the plan with this one. And yeah, I don't have a lot more to say about this. And yeah, it takes quite a long time, because I knit it on 1.75 millimeter needles, I think. And so yeah, but I think it's gonna be a great project, a great t-shirt to wear both in winter and summer, so that's why I like it. So that's it for this one. And then I think I'm looking at notes, I have one last work in progress, which is a new one. And so the next and last finished and last work in progress that I have is this new jumper that I have here. So where is it? So I'm gonna show it to you, and then I'm gonna explain a little bit about it, talk about it. It's a little bit hard to see. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about it. So this is the Uraka sweater by Yarn Flakes. She's Audrey Borrego. And she's a designer that I really like. I really like her designs and the way she writes her patterns. And I've knit quite a few of her patterns. Many socks, I think, from her because I really like them. And I think that it's really her patterns are the right balance between the fact that she explains a lot of things and you don't feel lost and not knowing what to do. It's always easy to understand, but it's also not too much that you have a pattern with 50 pages and you can't be bothered reading everything. So I think it's really the right balance between the two. So I really like them, and they're usually, like, they always have something interesting in them. They're not like really basic that it's a bit boring. They always have something. So when I saw, I think it was on her Vlogmas, that she showed that she was knitting a sweater with a Henley neck and satin sleeves. And so I was really excited about it because I like satin sleeves. And so, and also with the Henley neck, I was really really excited. So a Henley neck is the one that you have here. It's the fact that you have like a button band here, like this. I think it was originally for menswear, and yeah, and I really like this design element. And so you can't really see it on my sweater because the yarn, I think it's a bit dark to be able to really see. I didn't put any light on, so I only have the light from like the daylight, so, and it's getting a bit dark, so I hope that you can still see what I'm showing you. But anyway, so that's the Henley neck here. And so when she did the call for testers, I thought, I'm not sure how I have enough time to do it. I'm not sure I have the right yarn. So I thought, I'll knit it whenever it comes out. And because she said that the yarn that we had to use was had to be a bit drapey, because if it was too stiff, since in the design the sleeves were really big, it had to have some drape, and most of my yarns are rustic yarns, and so I was like, I'm not sure I have the right yarn to do that, so I have to look a bit into it. And anyway, and so I thought I would wait until the design was ready to knit it. And a few days later, she said that she was still missing some testers, and so that she was still looking for some. And I was like, okay. Oh, and also why I didn't apply for the test knit is that I didn't want to have sleeves that were that big, and there were some cables around the Henley neck, and there were some cables on the top of the bottom ribbing, and I didn't want that. And also for the neck, she stopped the collar here, and around, like on top of the Henley neck stopped here, and the collar stopped here. So I don't know if you can see really well, but the Henley neck stopped here with the front, and the collar started here and continued here, but without, like, there was a hole in it. I don't know, like, for example, there was nothing here, like in the middle, and I didn't like that. So since I wanted to make quite a few modifications, I didn't apply for the test knit. But when I saw that she was still looking for testers, I contacted her saying that I would be willing to knit the size 2 if she still needed some people to test for her, but that I would like to make a few modifications if she was okay with it. And she was okay with the fact that I could omit the cables. She said that for the collar, there were some explanations in the pattern to modify it, and for the sleeves she told me that I would have to do a bit of math, so I could recalculate the increases, so the sleeve could be smaller, which was okay for me. So I went looking into my stash. Sorry. I went looking into my stash and found that I had this yarn, which is this one. It's some yarn from Drops, and is it Sky? Air? Sky? Could it be that? I don't have the tag with me. I'm really not prepared for this episode. I can't remember. I'll write it on the screen or down below. I think it's Sky. Anyway, it's a Chenet yarn, and it's a blend of wool, alpaca, and I think there's like 10% of acrylic in it. I think. Maybe it's not the right percentage, but I think there's a little bit of acrylic in it. Anyway, that's a yarn that I had in my stash for many years. I bought it a long time ago, at least 4 or 5 years ago. And I bought it because I wanted to make, I think, a cardigan, and then I think I had to hold it double and I didn't have the right amount of yarn, something like that. And then I never got around to using it. So I had it in my stash for such a long time, and I thought, this could be the right yarn for this design. It has quite a lot of drape. You can see it's really like soft, like in all the meanings of soft. In all that, it's also really soft. It's really squishy. I can wear it next to skin. So yeah, I thought I had the right gauge with it, holding it single. So I went for it. Now about the design. It starts. It's a top-down sweater. We knit the back, then we pick up stitches for the front, for one of the two fronts, then the other one, then we join, and then we have the increases for the sleeves, and then we join in the round, knit the body, etc. And then we pick up for the collar. So we have different options, but so the camera stopped, and I've been talking for 2 minutes and I didn't realize it, and I can't remember what I was saying 2 minutes ago, and I don't know how much I could have been saying in 2 minutes. So sorry if I'm repeating a little bit on things I've already said, but I think I said that the cables were around here, around the handle neck here, on both sides. I didn't knit those cables, and there's some shaping on the sleeves cap. And it sits really nicely on the shoulder, so it's quite comfortable. And I put all those stitch markers here for the decreases of the sleeve. So because it's a test knit, I wanted it to be precise, and I wanted the two sleeves to be exactly the same. And I still have a few centimeters left to knit for the sleeve, which seems really small, but it fits, and it's not too tight. And then I'm going to do the ribbing, and I already knit the collar and the handle neck because for the test knit, Audrey, the designer, wanted to see how it looked like when it was sitting on the shoulders, and I like it because now I can see really how it's gonna look like once it's finished. I'm gonna put some small buttons here. I do have some. I'm gonna get them to show them to you. So I need 5 buttons. They look like this, and I do like them, although I think it's, I don't know, I'm not sure about it. I have my big fingers on top of the small buttons. Whoopsie, it fell down. Got another one here. But yeah, I don't know how much you can see the button. but yeah, I'm not sure about them because I think I like them. I like those buttons. They're the right size, but I don't know. I think that it's a bit dark for this yarn, and I was thinking maybe I could make some in ceramic, and I was thinking either I make them white, but it's a little bit basic, like a bit boring. I don't know. But there's like some white part in this yarn. It's not white, and there's no, I don't know how to explain it, but for example here we can see that there's some part in here that are we can see a bit of yeah, we can see a bit of white in the yarn, and I thought that maybe white buttons could be nice. Or what I was thinking also, that it was that I could make the buttons without any color, but I would put some glaze on top of it, like a transparent coat on top of the ceramic, so it would be the color of the natural color with just some glaze on top of it, so it's more durable. But I do like it like this too. I'm not sure, so I don't know. What do you think? Should I put those buttons or some white ceramic buttons, or any other color? Blue maybe? I wasn't sure about the blue. I don't know. Undecided. But yeah. And about the sleeve, so what I did to recalculate the length that I wanted, and the increases for the sleeves, for the armhole, I took this jumper because I think that the fit is exactly what I like at the moment. So I took it, I measured how big the armholes were, and recalculated the increases for this one, so it would be the same length here. And for the decreases, I kept the same amount of decreases as were written in the pattern, and I calculated that it would give me approximately this ease for the wrist. So I thought that it, I don't know why I'm showing it to you all the way there, but that it would give me this ease for the wrist, so I liked it. So yeah, I think that's it for this pattern. Until now, I really like it. I really like knitting it. The yarn is nice too. I don't think I would buy it now, especially since there is some acrylic in it, but I like knitting with it, and I think it's gonna be really nice to wear. I can't wait to put the buttons on because I want to see how it looks when it's closed. But yeah, and also I really like testing for Audrey, because I think she's a designer. She's really available whenever we have a question. She answers questions not only that are especially linked to the pattern in itself and the way it's written. She answers those things that when we give her a feedback, she answers it, and I think that's nice because not every designer do that. I've tested for others, and sometimes you just write a comment and you never have any answer, so you don't know if it's taken into account or not. So I think it's quite nice to be able to discuss with her, and also she's also really available for questions that we could have in the knitting process. Apart from the design in itself, I don't know if it's really clear what I'm saying, but she helps us in the sweater making, and I really like that. And she's doing her test knits on Ravelry, so we can share photos, and I think it's really nice to see what other testers are making, if they have some difficulties, or the way they knit, the yarn that they chose, how it looks like on others. So yeah, I think it's a test process that I really like with this designer. And if you don't know her patterns, I really recommend them, because she has a really they're really different. It's really eclectic, the patterns that she could have, in terms of everything, of elements of design. She has a lot of different constructions, a lot of different. She knits with cables, with lace, with mosaic, with color work. So I think it's really nice to have that much choice in with the designer. It was getting a little bit too dark, so I added some light. So I hope it's okay and that you can still see something. And but at the same time, I went to grab some yarn to show you the yarn that I'm using for that I used for the schema pullover that I showed you a bit before. This one. And so this is the yarn that I used. So here is the tag from Maison Septembre, and here it is. So 100% French wool, and yeah, I really like the color. Some rustic yarn, and also I went to grab the cone. So this is what I have left from this jumper, and so I bought 2 new ones. Which way? And so it was, I think I said the right name, but it's Skidoo Neb Brown, and yeah, 4-ply British wool, 500 grams. And so that's it for the yarn. And also I wanted to show you the next project that I'm gonna knit. So as I said, I wanted to knit some more vests, and so with my mom we decided, I showed her that I was knitting this one, and I showed her the ones that I had in my waiting list that I wanted to knit, and she saw the Burgos vest from Retrosaria Bomar, and she said that she really liked it. So so we thought that we could knit it together. I think I talked about it, or maybe I talked about it in Vlogmas. I can't remember everything now. Sorry, it keeps beeping, I'm gonna stop it. So we said that we would knit it together, and so she used the recommended yarn, which is Zhao, I don't know how to pronounce it, which is a sport weight yarn knit with a strand of Sark mohair. And me, I'm going to knit it with this yarn that I already caked up, and this is the yarn that I'm gonna use. It's Terroir Laine. And here is the composition. Sorry, I don't know how to show it to you. So it's the colorway Tourme, and it's wool. It's a woolen spun wool, so I'm really excited about that. And that I bought at a yarn festival in November. It's French yarn, and I love the color, and so I'm going to knit it with this one. And we were supposed to knit it together with my mom, and so I bought the yarn for her that I sent at her place, and I also bought some needles, and she was supposed to use 4 or 4.5 millimeter needles and 5, and she received 5.5 millimeter needles, which was too big for her. She did a swatch, and with 5.5 it was too big. So I sent an email saying that it was the wrong needle size that we got, and so I knew that she was going to get the new needle size at the beginning of January, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to put it aside. I'm going to start with her at the same time as her. I'm not going to start before her. And she didn't tell me anything, but she found some needles that she had at home that were 5 millimeter needles, and she started. And when she came to visit me last week, she had already knitted the whole back of the sweater until the armholes, and a part of the front. So she's quite advanced, and so yeah, she's going to finish it before me, and I haven't even started it. So I do have to do something, and I have to get started on this one. So this is the next cast on that I'm gonna do, because I want to be able to knit it with her and finish it with her. But I do have this jumper that's a test knit, so I have to keep knitting on this one, and I really like it. But yeah, this is the next one. And that's it for the projects. I think I'm going to talk about the acquisitions and the embroidery next time in the next episode. But I wanted to ask you, because I'm going to Portugal, to Lisbon in February, and I wanted to know if you had any yarn store recommendation. So I'm going to visit Retrosaria Pomar yarn store. And other than that, I don't know. So if you have any recommendation, they would be welcome, because I want to plan a little bit about where I can go. We're going to spend a week there, because I have a friend who moved there with his partner a few months ago. So we're going to visit them. And so, yeah, we're going to spend a week there. So we're going to have some time to go to some yarn store. So I'm quite excited about that, and I wanted to plan a little bit the quantity of yarn that I can bring home. That's the only plan that I'm gonna make for this week in Portugal. So yeah, so that's it for today. I hope it's not such a long episode, but since the last episode was quite a while ago, I had a lot of things to show you. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!